stones and the spirits in this place have begun to heal. Silence surrounds me.
Oh, hello, hello, hello. I am Kasasagi Usagi, and I am here with more Pillars of Eternity. Alright. So I was doing some reading and some research about what we should do next. Uh, you're supposed to do the White Marsh, the first part of the White Marsh before you finish Act 2 and you burn Direwood, or Define the Spade to the ground. That ship has come and gone. So what we should do now, you can still do it in the order that we did it in. So what we should be trying to do is trying to get to floor 15 of this place, and then we can do the White Marsh. I think that's beyond my skill set, but we'll make a good effort. I still have 4 camping things, so it should be fine. And you know, if it goes badly, then it goes badly, and we'll do the first part of the White Marsh, and then
Certainly.
come back to it. It's not a huge deal, but I figure I should give it my best college try. And maybe it'll go fine. Oh boy.
Ulu Sen.
Have to try something else.
Get your blood.
They both slumber.
Alright, let's try that again. If it goes bad, I said. Level 15. Things are kicking my ass. Alright, let's do that again.
That's it.
Well, the problem is the spooky ghosts, like, spawn in, like, all around my party, and that's what really hacks things up.
Yeah.
Moe Ixiana. Someone filled the place. Mo.
Oh no. I'll give it one more try. This really, I was right originally. This is too hard for me. Okay.
Certainly.
Just gonna stay here. Okay, fine. Bear, you need to stop that thing.
Yes.
Nope, that's not gonna do it. I should save those spells.
Rift.
Okay. Endurance, would you like to do something?
Mo Ix.
Yes.
Hey. Don't even. Just like an adherent.
Oh boy.
Oh? These wounds run deep.
Come on.
A voice falls silent at last.
Vareth!
We're real close.
Varethus!
He got petrified for like 30 seconds. Alright, we cannot get to the floor 15. We can't get through this floor. Hello, hello. So to the White Marsh we go. It was worth a good college effort. A good college try. No, I want to leave this place. I did overcome the spikes yesterday. Oh, congratulations. I hope it goes well for you. So we are going to the White Marsh. Bardic is considered high level for the content in the White Marsh. If you would like, the critical path can be increased to... Nope. We are just doing what we're doing. Oh, that's what I'm gonna do.
Set out for Stalwart. The White Marsh rises up in the distance, stretching to the north and south as far as the eye can see. It beckons to you with peaks like broken fingers. The road thins to a tattered ribbon, and the shadow of the mountains falls across your path. You've barely begun your climb when the darkening sky pummels you with hailstones and turns the ground beneath you to ice. You press on. The air grows thin, and the treacherous mountain passes funnel screeching winds past your ears. A blizzard forces you to make camp for 3 days, huddling for safety while snow piles around your refuge. At last the weather clears, and you approach Stalwart under a crisp blue sky. There's a noise, high and sharp, coming from the village that sounds at first like another frozen gale. But when you top the rise and reach the village's wooden gates, you see what lies beyond them.
Yeah, there is a Pillars of Eternity 2, which we'll be playing after. That is all voiced.
You set out for Stalwart.
Oh.
The White Marsh...
It's Darzier with a whole pack of them.
We can take these bastards!
Not that man. Alright, let's go.
Certainly. Spot on. Finish them.
No, I didn't upscale.
I'm ready.
They should be level 9.
Ah. Oh.
Look out! More of them by the fishery!
For stream's sake and getting through it, I kept things as they are. No upscaling.
Shed no blood.
It's very loud. It's like the music is different. Yeah, Turn it down a smidge. Okay. That's a little better.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not very good at the combat system as it is, and it's... I can't imagine
Yes.
it's very much fun for stream to watch me die pitifully because of my lack of stratagems.
Certainly.
Fishery, they said. So yeah, my guys are a little high, but that's okay. I'm not... It would be nice to get through it story-wise and not have to worry.
I'm ready.
Alright, well, I guess we'll get that later. Oh no, everybody must go. Actually, no. I will take that. Thank you. I'll also take this. Thank you. Is this looting? Kind of. Grieving Mother, if you could not tank, I would appreciate it so much. Hi, Sassy.
Yes. Certainly.
Starting
What?
to say that. He does not.
If it makes you rest easier.
Western Stockade.
We need help! This way! Stand fast! Reinforcements are here! Spot on!
That's it!
Run!
Oh.
Kill us all!
Certainly.
Are there still ogres over here? Wait. Important things. Thank you.
That's it!
Yes.
Spot on!
I.
I bet they're further down. Ooh, mini. Aw.
Certainly.
Let us end this!
My bear.
Gotcha!
Certainly.
Oh shit, Grieving Mother just absolutely ate it.
For the Republic!
Our dauntless veil.
Hmm?
How may I help? Yes?
That's it!
Yes. Oh?
How may I help?
My bear! What are you doing?
Yes.
I don't have it.
Ah, thank
Spot on.
than wrath.
Oh,
These uns are in for a walloping!
oh,
What?
Spot on.
Mowing. Darzir's fallen. Back to the matron now.
All my loot. You're the one Reginfield sent for? She'll want to speak with you. Her house is just up the way, next to the Grief's Rest. The messenger pants, waving smoke away from his face.
Katie's house is burning.
yes.
Hurry, they're both in there.
Wait, my loot's over here.
Help, the hut's coming down.
Yeah? The roof is the roof of this hut is almost entirely enveloped in flames, lighting the snow in stark orange hues. Several beams have been reduced to ember-dotted husks. Through the hut's threshold, you can see only billowing smoke. Fire roars as it climbs the timbers. The air feels thick and hot, and the building is a maze of flame. Withstanding the smoke and navigating the fire will be a challenge. Probably a deer, right? He's a big, strong, strapping lad. What? Wizard, cleric, whatever she is. Paladin? Palgina could probably do it too. I'm gonna send Adir. I make Adir do everything. Adir leaps over the burning threshold, plunging out of sight behind a wall of smoke. Inside the house, fire has pitted the walls and beams, and a thick haze rolls through the building. It is hard to see even a few feet ahead, save for the occasional glimpse of glowing embers. That's true. Her hair might burn, and it is too beautiful to allow that to happen. Crouch down to avoid the smoke. Adir moves onward through the haze of heat and soot. The hut groans and shifts as the blaze grows. Above, a beam begins to sag, threatening to crash down into the corridor. From just ahead comes the faint sound of a voice calling for help. Run, Adir. You are so fast, so athletic, so strong. As the beam overhead finally gives way, Adir sprints forward into a graceful roll, avoiding the burning logs that come crashing down. Despite the smoke and flames, Adir remains unharmed and unhindered for the moment. Pressing forward, Adir comes at last to a wider room. To the left is a man, the source of the faint cries for help. He stands trapped behind a curtain of flames, arms raised to ward off the heat. It may be impossible to reach him without quenching the fires first. To the right, a woman lies unconscious beneath what appears to have once been a roof. She's small, but the rubble trapping her looks heavy. Smoke winds its way up and down in the open air, obscuring all sight from the outside. Stop and examine the situation to the left. Help! Please help me here! A man dressed in haphazard armor of a local guard stands trapped on the side of the house. Fire has worked its way across the floorboards, blocking all escape. I don't have any spells. Adir is just a man. Turn away to help the woman? I think the woman's gone. Adir moves towards them, but the flame scalds Adir's arms. The man tries to move towards Adir, but the flames rise higher in his path. Adir approaches the other victim. The smoke has gotten thick, and Adir begins coughing, but is able to press on. This woman is trapped beneath considerable amount of rubble, including a heavy crossbeam. A purpling bruise on her temple suggests she was struck as the debris fell. Clear the rubble. Adir sets the pry bar against the section of the crossbeam and, using every ounce of strength, strains to lift it clear. After a period of fruitless struggles, the beam finally begins to rise by slow degrees. With one great final effort, Adir heaves the last of the rubble clear of the woman. Though still unconscious, the woman is free of the rubble and can now be moved. Carry the woman out. The woman is of slight frame, and carrying her proves easier than freeing her from the rubble. Adir hoists her carefully onto his shoulder. Sorry, dude, I can't help you. Beset by smoke-clogged air and burning debris, Adir finds the ordeal taking its toll. Still, Adir presses on, determined. Keeping a firm hold on the unconscious woman, Adir turns for the exit. Adir clears the fallen beam with easy grace, avoiding the scattered embers and debris underfoot. The smoke clouds Adir's vision and makes it difficult to breathe, but Adir staggers onward. At last, Adir comes to the door, rushing out of the blaze and into the mountain air. Well...
Katie, thank the gods you saved her.
I was sure that thing was coming down and taking your friend with it. The man wipes his brow and stares up at the collapsing house. At least you got Kaylee out when you did. As for poor Logodor, his eyes widen as a section of the whoop collapses, and he looks away, shaking his head. You look like you could use a drink. Take this over to Hafrix and have one on me. He flips you a couple of flat carved bones. I couldn't save the guy, and I definitely tried. I just didn't have any magic spells, and there was no way that Alof or Durance were gonna make it through that. I don't believe they have any useful.
How may I help?
What's your constitution look like, Alof? 10, 15, a 3 in athletics, and a 5 in survival. He would have died in there.
Oh?
Oh? Oh? So who am I supposed to talk to? Oh, the Grief's Rest, I think, is what. Can you save them both?
Berith's wheel of fire.
Nice.
Ooh, still can't feel my fingers. Thought I'd found shelter when I stumbled across this little village. Guessing you did too, huh?
Farah raises a frosty mug to you. Even the warmth of the hearth reaches you here. Her hands are wrapped in wire wool and her ears muffled by a hat. Her face has the taut, wind-beaten look of someone who's recently come from the road.
As much blood as there was in the streets, I'm lucky the ale's still flowing.
She takes a drink, and as she tilts her head back, you see a bruise purpling her jaw and the crimson bloom of scraped knuckles. What happened to you?
Thought all the whispers about Durgan's battery were just village superstition. And maybe they are. But I might have been on my guard if I'd listened. I was part of an expedition, hunting for relics from Durgan's battery. And picked up a good haul, too.
She takes a slow swallow of her beer.
So it figures that's when the winds pick up and the sky starts dumping snow. We lost sight of the road. Meanwhile, something else found us. Took Liam out before we even realized we were surrounded. And then we see him coming out of the snow. These little four-armed wilder. Lagufoth, they're called.
She shakes her head, staring at the embers in the fire pit.
Quick little bastards. Francesca and I held them off as long as we could, but when they filled her full of darts, I turned tail and ran. Found my way here and thanked my luck for escaping the Lagufoth. Then come to find out that this town's got an ogre problem.
She laughs bitterly. What are you going to do now?
I need to get those artifacts. Not that I'm in any shape to go after them myself. But I can't afford to return to Defiance Bay without something to show for my expedition.
Apprehension creeps into her expression. She stares into her mug, swirling its contents.
But you know how to navigate the wilds. You'd be able to find your way out there and back with no trouble, I'd wager.
She looks up from her mug, hopeful.
I'll give you a cut for anything you bring back, of course. I ain't asking for charity. I just can't afford to go home empty-handed.
She brushes her nails along the side of her mug as that anxious look returns. Tell me what you're looking for.
Like I said, we were treasure hunting near Durgan's battery when we were ambushed. What else do you want to know?
Why are these relics so important to you?
We took out several loans to pay for our trip out here. I'm gonna have trouble if I don't pay them back.
She scratches the back of her neck. I'm gonna examine her teeth. As Farah talks, you notice her teeth and gums are stained with dark spots. You recognize these spots as Svev use. So, am I to presume she's lying for drug money? What do you know about Durgan's battery?
Just that it's been locked up tight for 200 years on account of those dwarves having a row.
She shrugs.
Which means that any trinkets from inside fetch a nice price. Sorry, I'm more of a businesswoman than a historian.
Remind me where I can find your caravan.
What's left of it should be near Durgan's battery. If you stumble across the Logothoth, you'll know you're close.
Okay. I guess that leads to I can really screw her over once I do this thing. Hey there, good timing! You can watch me trounce Breathwin. Alcohol and sharp objects. That won't end well. Once, Adrian, you won once. What are you playing? Orland's Head. Angry grins sheepishly. That's what they call it anyhow. Smooth. You pick a target, see? Nose or ears. Nose is worth more, but you've got 2 years to work with. You get less points the further from your target you get, so for the mouth and eyes, no points if you miss. Fancy a game? 3 throws each, and whoever gets the most points by the end of it wins the wager. I'll put down 50 pans, if you will. Sure, let's play. Oh, this is quite tasteless. Andred pulls the throwing knife from his belt, turning it over in his hands. Wager's 50 pans. You in? Let's play. Lovely, I'll go first, just to show you how it's done. Andred aims carefully and throws his blade. The knife hits the mouth, scoring 5. Andred walks up to retrieve the knife. Your turn. I am a bard? Not a bard, but I'm a ranger, and I can shoot arrows, and I feel like I should absolutely just take this man to town. Nose. The knife hits an ear, scoring a 7. Andrew aims carefully and throws his blade. The knife hits the eye, scoring a 5. I want to aim for the nose again. The knife hits the nose, scoring a 10. Andrew aims carefully and throws his blade. The knife hits the first, scoring a 2. Man, I can do whatever I want. I've got this in the bag. Bada bing, bada boom. That's 27 for you and 12 for me. Not bad, stranger. Looks like you win this one. Not bad. It was almost a perfect game. Here's your prize. Guess I gotta get in some practice. That was perfect. Clowns. Let Hefrick know if you're hungry. Man, I am hungry.
Owena! Go check on that Orland. Make sure he don't steal nothing.
Oh boy.
Never seen such a bloodbath. Feels like we got half the town's survivors in here, just drinking to forget it.
The dwarf surveys the crowd, his expression somber despite his half-empty flagon by his hand. He shakes his head and looks at you, remembering himself.
But you must be looking for some refreshment, too, after the way you handled them ogres. Or perhaps a room. Say the word and I'll give that shifty little Orland the boot.
Oh my god. What Orland?
Showed up a few days ago. Sticks his nose out of the back room just long enough to empty his chamber pot.
He squints towards the hall as if daring the Orland to show himself.
Up to no good, I tell ya. I'd like nothing more than to see him gone, but I don't want to ruckus over it.
I could... what makes you so sure he's trouble?
We get our share of lowlifes coming through here. Smugglers, fugitives, Kith looking to avoid the sharp eye of the law. Ways keeping to himself. Well, honest Kith sure don't have cause for it.
I could talk to him.
I'd appreciate it. And I suppose I don't need to remind you that I don't want you to hurt him. I'm sure you can find a more discreet way of handling the problem.
He gives you a meaningful look. Oh boy. Well, time to go be an asshole, I guess. Excuse me. I would
My
like...
thoughts will be as silent as my feet.
You want to talk about being shifty?
Excuse me.
She jumps.
There's something you need?
His voice. She knits her fingers together and looks intently at the floor. Farewell, apparently. Hello.
not to be rude, but I'm rather busy. Can't you get another room?
The Olin turns and glances past you with a quick, nervous motion. His ears shredded and scalloped at the edges are pressed against his skull. This one hides something. His mind is a maze of fear. Hefrick sent me to check on you. He dislikes Orlin, so of course he thinks you're up to something.
He... What? Oh no. No.
He runs his claws through his hair and tugs at his long, ragged ears. Can't imagine why he'd think a thing like that. Olaf, I don't have time for your racism.
Is she there? Did you see her?
He leans around you, peering at the doorway. Who are you talking about?
Devala. That woman. The slaver, she... I was a slave in Raid Ceres. I ran away. Made it here. The mountains are usually the best place to lose slavers, but Devala's one of the best.
His hands tremble as he picks at his worn tunic. I'm so sorry. Can I help?
I just want to get out of here. I've scraped together enough money to reach New Haelmar.
New Haelmar? That's hardly a... He stops himself, his eyes wide. I mean, it's lovely. You'll love it.
But the locals talk about a Raid Saren party, camped west of town.
He worries at a ragged shirt sleeve.
It's got to be Devala. She's been after me since the foothills. I'll pay you if you can get rid of her. I don't care how.
I'll do it.
Thank you. But be careful. She wouldn't have come alone.
I'm waiting for the heel turn, I guess if you would call it that, where this poor man, or you're led to think that this is like just more stuff and it's like, oh, people are still racist to Orleans, but then he's like something horrible, and then I have to make a choice. Ugh. Choices.
Don't see the harm. Building's thirsty work.
Oh boy. The man startles visibly at the sight of you, though he attempts to hide it with a queasy smile.
Say, you're the one we have to thank for fighting off the ogres, right? Never thought I'd see one of the god-touched.
Let me know when you do.
I would have helped fight them monsters off, you know, if I didn't think I'd just get in the way. And with you there to handle things, everything turned out well enough, didn't it? Don't see why Havrick's still sour at me.
What's this about, Hayfrick?
Oh, Havrick's the innkeeper over at the Grave's Rest. I may have been hiding in the inn when the fighting started.
Brave.
The raid didn't improve his disposition any. Did you know he has a whole case of Fenlin liquor in there? I keep offering to buy it off him, but he says he's saving it up for when the batteries open again. As if we're gonna last that long. Anyhow, he said he'd thrash me up and down the mountain if I didn't leave him be.
You hid while everyone risked their lives?
That's, that's what Havrick said, actually. Look, I'm not proud of it, but I'm no warrior. What am I gonna do? Throw a net on them?
Yes. And now you're worried about some fancy drink.
They say a single drop changes your life. You'll never want to have a drink of anything else. Probably that's all rubbish, but it's supposed to be very good.
I see.
It's delusional is what it is. Point of fact, what with you dealing with ogres and everything, maybe you
Why?
be willing to help me out.
Absolutely not. Oh, bravo. Subtle indeed.
Havrick keeps all the good stock in the inn cellar. Out of sight, you see. I mean, it's bound to be under lock and key, but I'm sure he wouldn't miss a single bottle. Not with everything that's going on.
What does stealing wine for you have to do with fighting ogres?
Well, Havrick can be a little intimidating when it comes to his beverages. But otherwise, not much, I guess.
And what do I get out of this?
I'll pay you for it. I swear it. We'll split my wages. And the bottle, too, if you like. I just want to be able to say these lips have tasted the best the Ishamael Blades have to offer.
If I say I can do it, but then go directly to the innkeeper and be like, bro, I think I can do that. I'll see what I can do.
Great.
I don't want to actually do this.
I don't think Havrick will let me in the inn for a while, so you're on your own. I'll wait here.
No, I'm gonna go tattle. I'm gonna
Living
go
in a
tattle
place
right
like
now.
this. It's a wonder anybody stayed at all.
I'm tattling.
to warm your hands, eh? What can I do for
I
you?
thought you might want to know that Rayfield asked me to steal your liquor.
He did he? That shifty little crook never learns.
I know.
I'll have it put away somewhere safe. Thank you for doing the decent thing. Here, for your honesty.
Hell yeah. Get fucked, Rayfield. You're a jackass.
If you weren't gonna fetch the liquor for me, you didn't have to tell Havrick about it. Now he's banned me from the inn altogether.
You got what you deserved.
But I didn't even do anything.
Exactly.
And that was about the first inkling of hope I'd had in months. What do you want, anyway?
Farewell. Fucker. That guy was a huge tool, and I'm not sorry about it at all. Like, Jesus. He hides in the inn, and then he's like, this man is saving his special supply for a special occasion, and I think that's stupid, so steal it. You see a middle-aged woman and a younger man locked in an argument. Both wear clothes streaked with blood and dirt. The young man turns to face to the woman, a fresh cut visible below his eye.
They've destroyed the stockade, Mother. It's...
Enough. They're gone.
Ooh. She's got a portrait. She holds up a hand which is missing the final joint of the ring finger, but it's her voice, sharp and steely, that silences the young man. As he glowers at his toes, she turns to you with dark circles under her eyes and a smile pulled taut across her thin lips.
The deliverer of Cadnua. Thank you for making the journey. Abidan knows it's a long one. Well, I'm sure you wagered on a more civilized welcome. Still, we're much obliged for your capable intervention.
She shoots the young man a brief but stern glare. She sounds exactly like Sagani. I don't have Sagani here, though. He pulls the knife from his belt and an apple from his pocket and sets to work. It's an honor to be called here.
That's fine of you to say so, though I'm hoping your strengths lie more with arms than words.
Okay. She folds the map in her hand with a quick and merciless pinch.
Stalwart isn't much more than a grease stain on a map. What roads we've got in the White March are basically tracks in the snow. And for every trader or adventurer that comes through, 3 of our own leave for good. But it weren't always so. There was a time when kings and queens sent their firstborn to these mountains, when the White March was the envy of empires.
Her eyes shine for an instant, and she looks like a much younger woman. How the mighty have fallen. What an era that must have been for the White Marsh.
The Pargrin dwarves transformed the White March once. We could bring some of that greatness back to Stalwart. But we need the White Forge.
She raises the map and taps a spot in the middle of a white and gray expanse. Never heard of it.
Of course. Been over 200 years since anyone's felt so much as a summery breeze near it.
She smooths the creased map.
I'm hoping you can do something about that.
She ignores the young man who shakes his head at the crackling logs. How so?
We've been trying to breach Durgan's battery for over a year now. Problem is, the other expeditions can't so much as dent the front door.
She rubs at her fatigue-shadowed eyes. Tell me about these other expeditions.
A dozen different groups have come through at our request, and several more besides. Been hoping that one of them could clear the way through Durgan's battery. But young or old, green or seasoned, it don't seem to matter. They cast their spells, chisel at the door, and search the grounds until they've worn new treads into the old stone. The lucky ones eventually go home. Plenty more find themselves on the wrong side of a blizzard, or an ogre raiding party.
Why the sudden interest in the White Forge?
We're an old mining town. Or we were until the Adirans pulled out and left us with a half-dug mine shaft and something resembling an inn.
She thumps the sturdy wooden wall with her fist.
Since then, it's been a steady decline. You've seen the roads. Isn't much we can produce that the Valians can't ship cheaper.
It is what we do.
But the White Forge... well, if we could fire it up again and start producing Durgan steel, or something close to it, wouldn't matter if we're in the White March or the Living Lands. Business would come.
She folds her arms and gives you a stiff nod. The young man says nothing, but he tosses a sliver of the apple peel into the fireplace. And that's why you need my help.
That's the long and short of it. We're laborers and fisherfolk, not adventurers. But Durgan steel could put Stalwart on the map again. Open up the mines, bring in new business. We just need the White Forge.
She thumps at the desk with her fist. Why is Durgan steel so special?
Because you can shave stone with it, cleave cast iron in two, and the stuff's as rare as it is remarkable.
In her enthusiasm, Renegild shifts on the balls of her feet. She props one bent arm on the other, pointing distractingly towards the eaves of her house. Steel is steel. It may be light, and it may take an edge well, but per Kaplana, the legends grow with each passing year.
If we could make something even half as good, we'd have a market at our doorstep and work enough for all of Stalwart.
For a split second, her gaze flickers to Uldric. How is it no one's gotten into Durgan's battery yet?
Where should I start? Ogres, blizzards, or sheer damned inaccessibility?
She ticks the items off on her fingers.
It ain't for lack of trying, I'll tell you that much. Got untold riches in Durgan steel lying just inside, and never mind the White Forge itself. The Adirans who first settled Stalwart tried to crack it. So did the Valians, and every other cocky adventurer with more metal than sense.
She does. She folds her arms, shaking her head at a pitted floorboard.
But the place has a funny way of sealing itself up. Front door stays shut, the tower entrances are clogged with rubble, and it's been impossible to blast a way in.
Renegild trails off, and for a moment the room is silent, but for the popping and crackling of the fire. What happened to Durgan's battery?
It don't bear dwelling on.
Oh.
There's too many superstitions about that place as it is.
She waves her mangled hand in a broad crescent, averting her gaze.
Killed each other off. Or so the old books say.
He glares at Renegild through hooded eyes.
Plenty of tales to go around, but none of them open the battery. And the last thing people need is another reason to fear the place. Whatever it was, the other Pargrin dwarven settlements in the White March, Bone Picker, the Hawk, and the rest, emptied out not long after, moved to gentler, greener lands.
Had the right idea, if you ask me.
I don't see why you need the White Forge to make good steel.
Finally, someone talking sense.
He raises his knife and half-peeled apple to the fire in a dramatic gesture of exasperation.
Durgan steel wasn't just good. It was some of the best. We need the best if we're going to keep Stalwart alive.
She glares at Uldric while she speaks to you.
No one alive today has seen the White Forge, but the old stories tell that it was powerful, glowed white-hot, and gave off a steady, even heat, unlike any other furnace. Let better-schooled folk puzzle over how the thing was built. I just want to see it put to use.
Tell me about the Pargrin dwarves.
Pargrin's a word in their language. Means traveler. They've been wanderers for generations, but I couldn't tell you much more.
All right. Any idea where I should begin?
The battery's up the mountain to the north. A good hike away.
She jerks her head in the direction of the slope behind the house.
Near Galvino's place, huh?
Uldric says it in a breezy tone, but Renegild falls suddenly silent. Consternation hardening the lines of her face. Consternation. He smiles and draws his knife across the apple again.
So it is. Though I was going to suggest dealing with that ogre camp before anything.
She compresses her thin lips into a frown. Who's Galvino?
Mestre Galvino, as the old crosspatch prefers it. Lives by himself and keeps the wilder and beasts at bay through sheer foulness of his temper.
She means to say he's a skilled smith and animancer, who's lived in the shadow of Durgan's battery for over a decade.
He looks over his shoulder at you and Renegild. And by animancy's flimsy standard, that makes him an expert, does it? He folds his arms.
And he butters his bread on both sides and fits his left shoe before his right. But that's neither here nor there.
She crosses her arms and crumples the page in one tightening fist. You seem flustered all of a sudden. Did he do something to anger you?
Me and the rest of the town. He knows better than to linger at our gates.
What happened with Galvino?
Old lunatic finally went too far. And we sent word to the Valian academies.
Oh.
I don't like speaking on it, but if you want to get his guff, just remind him that we gave him the boot.
I see.
Ain't nobody here fond of the man, but he's a clever hand and a quick study. It's a fool who thinks he stayed so close to the battery without figuring something about it.
You said as much to the last party, and we haven't seen hide nor hair of him since. Maybe they didn't run afoul of Baragon's ogres after all.
She raises a gray eyebrow at him. Uldric shrugs and turns back to the fire.
Just watch your step. Galvino's place is a ways east of the battery, and folk who pass it bring unsettling tales.
Tell me about the ogre camp.
Belongs to Flames That Whisper. Matron Baragon's clan. Hunters tell me they've been active of late.
Hunting elk and otherwise minding their own damn business.
He pops an apple wedge into his mouth and chews it aggressively.
Minding their own business. Never mind the latest expedition's disappearance, or the broken stockade.
She pinches the bridge of her nose, squinting.
I'm saying we shouldn't agitate him further.
He makes to toss another slice of peel into the fire, but he fumbles and drops his knife. He bends to pick it up, cursing. What does this matron have to do with anything?
The brawl outside was just the latest patch of trouble. The ogre clans are getting bolder, and we'll all sleep easier knowing they aren't circling our walls. Also, Baragons like to have whatever the last expedition found. Rumor has it they disappeared near her turf.
She crosses her arms and looks to Uldric.
Killing a matron will only make our problems worse. The way to approach Baragon is with your hands held high.
If anyone could parley with an ogre, I suppose it'd be you. But they aren't known for their patience with prattle.
Got it.
Good. Before you leave town, stop by the Grave's Rest. Most visitors to Stalwart spend some time there, so Hafric and his patrons may be able to give you the lay of the land.
Alrighty. Don't know about you, but I'm parched all of a sudden. Actually, I want to ask you about something.
What's on your mind?
What can you tell me about Farah's expedition?
Who? Sorry, I don't recall the name.
Her brow furrows.
Last expedition I met disappeared weeks ago. Didn't give any names, but they definitely haven't come back this way.
Yeah, she's a liar.
Don't mean the Sfeara weren't part of an expedition, though. We get groups passing by sometimes, looking to try their luck.
I don't know. I don't know.
What's on your mind?
I have questions about Durgan's battery in the White Forge.
The Pargrin dwarves guarded it like a mother bear. It's a wonder we know as much as we do.
I don't actually.
What's on your mind?
I want to know more about Stalwart.
Adir founded us back in their colonial days to supply ore to the Empire. Saw a fair bit of traffic from both sides of the White March then.
She rubs the number of her shortened ring finger.
But after the Deerwood claimed independence, Defiance Bay found cheaper places to get ore. Didn't have much reason to maintain our supply routes.
Isn't Stalwart part of the Direwood?
Officially. Though with the state the roads are in, you wouldn't guess it.
Tell me some of the more important places around town.
Here in the center? Let's see. The Grave's Rest is next door. Hafric can set you up with a room and a hot meal there. The fishery's just on the edge of the lake, and the Temple of Andra is next to it. No one keeps a secret like Lavda. Or so I'm told. A few folk live in this part of town, too. Seemed a lot safer before the ogres broke through the western gate. Thiersch lives next to the old mine shaft, and Tana, the old mine overseer, is next door to me.
She jerks her thumb towards the wall. What do you do here?
I'm the mayor. Or so I'm reminded every time there's a game shortage, ogre attack, or a neighborly dispute. I'm a builder by trade, though. Traveled all over Air Glonfoth and the Deerwood in my younger days, but ended up back here anyway.
She gives you a vague smile that's gone as quickly as it appears.
What's on your mind?
Can you tell me anything about the last expedition that went to Durgan's battery?
They didn't volunteer much, and I knew better than to ask.
She scratches her jaw, frowning.
I've seen all types charging through here. Professional companies with shiny new equipment as brazen as you please, and hopeless runts with nothing but tattered leathers. But these folk, I don't know what they were after, and the way they looked at you made you feel cold all over.
She shakes her head as if dislodging a bad dream.
Wish I could tell you more.
Perhaps we'll find more on the battery itself, yes? He nods at you with a guarded look.
What's on your mind?
Nothing. Sounds like the leaden key. Oh, wait, I should talk to that dude.
Been looking everywhere for you.
Oh. Hello. The man is sweating despite the cold. He opens his mouth to speak, but all that comes out is a loud hacking cough. He bends forward, bracing his hands on his thighs, and when he heaves and gasps, after a lengthy duration, he raises a finger, still panting. All Hafric's fault. Damn fool sent me to the other side of town, looking for you. At last he stands again. He wipes his dripping brow with the back of his hand and then offers his hand to you in greeting. Shake his hand. Pleasure to meet you. I'm the, captain of the militia around here. Nice to meet you? I wanted to catch you before you went running off into the wilds. See, there's a few dangerous folk you might be on the lookout for. Plus, if you're heading out to Longwatch Falls, I thought you could pick up the thermal pearl for me. He looks away and twists the toe of his boot into the snow. You want me to find a thermal pearl for you? That's the thing. I already found it. I just need someone else to go out and get it. Saw it in the hot springs near Longwatch Falls. Would have grabbed it myself, but that's when I looked around and saw the Legofeth. Must have been 50 of them. He spreads his arms wide. I would have fought, but I just started to wonder what the rest of the stalwart would do without me, so I ran, for the sake of the village, of course. What is a thermal pearl anyway? They form in the hot springs, something to do with all the minerals in the water. Smell kind of funny, but they're full of minerals. They just have to crumble them into a pint. He grins, and you notice that his gums are bleeding. They cure scurvy. Like I said, the pearl's pearls in one of the thermal pools near Longwitch Falls. Shouldn't be hard to spot. Tell me more about the falls. It's east of Stalwart. Got some nice views of the valley, but most folk avoid it these days. Plenty of wilder nearby, and it only takes a few inches of snow to block the pass. If you're heading out that way, I suggest talking to Thyzrick. He might have something to help you deal with the Langwith. Okay. Alright, I don't need to talk to you anymore. That was like a side quest that was just like tossed at me. I want to talk to this little man.
Something else you need?
Do you know anything about Durgan's Battery?
It's a fool's hope. A fantasy that's kept these parts inhabited longer than they should be.
He glances around the old house and its worn furnishings.
They say the Pargrunan dwarves developed Durgan's steel, became powerful, rich, and then one day, they locked their doors and died.
He shrugs, turning his palms towards you.
Nothing like a mystery to stir folk up. Most of Stalwart is convinced that some Pargrin secret will save us all. But that don't stop them from whispering a prayer when they pass the old fortress.
A sour smirk crosses his lips. Earlier you said I should make peace with Matron Bergen.
About the only thing folk here haven't tried. Killing one more matron won't change things for long.
He shakes his head.
Besides, her clan's flames that whisper. The one that attacked us was Wolf with many mouths. I'd know him anywhere.
They're cut from the same cloth, Aldrich. Only a matter of time before Baragon marches through that gap in our walls.
At the sound of Renegil's voice, Aldrich's shoulders stiffen and his jaw works into a silent but furious retort. You seem to disagree with Renegil in quite a few matters.
Mother's convinced that a magic forge will turn this frozen crack into a hub of civilization. She can't accept this place is dying. Me, I'd just as soon move on.
He scrapes the sole of his boot on the straight but weathered floorboards. What do you do here?
I'm a carpenter. Mother's a builder. So it felt like a good fit at the time.
He presses his lips into a wry frown.
Not that we've got a lot of new folk to build houses and furnishings for. These days, I spend most of my time fixing up the stockade.
Farewell. Okay. I think that was good information to know, that it wasn't the same ogres that attacked the town. Okay. Let's go to this house. Loading screens are pretty rough, though.
They gone? Have those nasty brutes finally left? I heard the ogres outside, tearing down walls and murdering folk. Don't remember how things got this bad.
The elderly woman kneads her hands. Her knuckles are swollen knobs, and her palms are rigged with calluses that scrape and rasp as she rubs them together.
But you're the new adventurer. Renengild's latest volunteer.
She squints at you, leaning precariously forward on her wobbling legs.
A real spitfire, she told me. Bet you'd whip those layabouts at the mine into shape.
I'd like to ask you something.
Did you say something, dear?
Tell me about yourself.
Me? I was the overseer at the mine, back when it was running. Got shut down decades ago when we couldn't sell or ship the stuff. But I still remember plenty about the mining business. And I got as many folk as I can digging out the entrance.
She taps her head, a spotted dome under a thinning thatch of hair.
Been praying to the salty wench that I don't forget too much afore they finish the job.
She winks.
Got to speak
all.
up? My hearing ain't what it was.
Can I steal, like, if I was, like, right here?
Hey.
No, Durrance, come back.
What?
Yeah. And then my bear. It's, like, right here. And then...
Yes.
Oh, Baldrina, get over there. Damn, I really can, huh?
They didn't teach us much about locks in the Brotherhood.
But let's see.
A simple test. That's settled.
This feels bad.
Oh?
How many old ladies do I have to be cruel to before I learn my lesson? I think I'll have to go back there, but let's go to the fishery first.
Fresh fish! Freshly caught! Effigy's eyes! It looked at me!
Oh boy.
Ah!
Nani the fuck? A dozen pairs of globular eyes stare up piteously from the discarded heads of the day's catch, awash in a pungent sea of fins and innards. Shift through the fish scraps? Your hand runs up against something round and fleshy, the size of a melon. It is smooth and scaleless, and parts seem to be covered in hair. A discarded head, perhaps, but not that of a fish. I'm digging through fish guts. Pull out the head? With one hand on either side of the head, you begin to lift it out of the barrel, only to have it leap from your grasp as the head's owner springs over the lip of the barrel in an eruption of fish chunks and rains down over the market stall. The man who leapt from the barrel stands facing you, nearly naked save for a loincloth, and drizzled in fish viscera. He is covered head to toe in scars, tears and punctures, and the thorny imprints of lashings. Most are faded like old memories. Despite that, the condition of the man's body is remarkable. The drooping skin at his flanks and elbows are only evidence of his advanced age. His face is placid, but the rest of him appears to be prepared for anything.
You must forgive, Zawa. I was not expecting you.
I know that voice. That's he's from Persona 5. He's Dad. Seishiro? Seishiro? He adopts you, kind of. You stay with him. He's your daddy. Coffee Dad. What were you doing in that barrel? Zahua scratches behind his ear, dismayed.
Resting my eyes, I thought. Waiting for the Malkachoa to bring me inside.
Yeah, it's Sojiro. He does other things, but I recognize him immediately as Daddy Sojiro.
It would seem I dozed. Good thing my master was not alive to see it.
Damn, we got Yusuke and Sojiro up in here. Zura blinks, leaning in to get a better look at you. His enlarged pupils seem to crowd out his pale irises.
Are you real?
Yes. What is this? Yes.
Of course. I meant no offense. But I find it is best to ask when Malkachoa is involved.
Malkachoa?
A small white mushroom. I have heard it called snowcap in these lands.
Everyone is on drugs all of the time.
It can reveal the true nature of many things.
You have a master, you said? The man traces your inadvertent glance at his scars, and he smiles politely.
A teacher, not an owner. Zawa is a free man. Well, as free as any of us.
I still don't understand why you were in that barrel.
I was freeing myself from vanity.
Did he say sanity or vanity?
Consider, how can one be vain who is bathed in the smell of dead fish?
There is a proud glint in his eyes. It is hard to argue with that.
I had the idea when I passed this way earlier. I am pleased with the results so far.
He smiles at a woman whose head is swiveled towards him as she passes by, a look of revulsion on her face. Distracted, her toe catches on a stone and she nearly falls onto her face. He claps his hands together.
Yes, quite pleased.
You don't seem like you're from around here.
I was visiting a monastery, not far from here. I found it empty, but I met a messenger as I left. He carried a call for aid. Seeing that he would find no monks at the monastery, I chose to go in their place. Zawa is no longer young, but in combat he is still the greatest of the Takan people. It seemed only right that he should go.
Oh, I didn't watch Bleach in English, so I have no idea any of the voice actors. Stalwart hired me as well.
I would not say I am hired. I seek no wage, and I promise no result. I have chosen a path, and my spoils come from walking it.
An uneasy frown settles on his face, almost a wince.
And this fortress, this Durgan's battery, its people are gone. Zawa would know why.
If you seek the White Forge as well, I could use the help of an experienced warrior. Zawa's face tilts upward, his eyes fixing on the sky. He remains motionless, entranced. At length he blinks as if awakening and looks back at you. He shrugs cheerily.
If one wishes to swim, it is no time to argue with the current. We are here together in this moment because a perfect force has willed it. Who is Zawa to argue?
He looks at you squarely in the eyes, and for once, they do not drift.
I will walk with you so long as the gods wish it so.
Nice. Those scars are from battle? Zawa glances down at his body.
From battle, yes. I left them upon my enemies.
He points at various patches of crisscrossing scars.
These were struck against fear. These against pleasure. These against hatred. Those down there against greed and doubt. And these...
He points to his face.
These were for vanity.
You made those scars.
I cannot take credit for all of them, but I did most of the good ones.
His mouth perks.
I put them there in battle to remind myself what is real and what is not. Our worst enemies are inventions of the mind, pleasure, fear. When we see them for what they are, we become unstoppable.
And how have you achieved this?
I feel I have been close, but never for more than an instant. In the moment when the pain is sharpest, the world becomes clear. In that moment, I am a match for anyone.
Take care and good luck in your league matches. He gives a slow, assured nod. Boy! Your wounds must have caused you to suffer greatly.
Of course. I am fortunate to have suffered so much. If I did not suffer, I would not aspire to free myself from it. I would wander from one unfulfilling goal to the next. More wealth, a better station. My soul would wither. But to search for a place beyond suffering's reach is to nurture the soul, to harden it against the elements.
He clenches his fists in illustration.
Suffering is the greatest gift the gods have given us. Their most beautiful, perfect creation. It is the hand that turns the wheel.
His eyes gleam as though he's looking upon an old and beloved friend. Alright, I think that's... Let's be on our way, my guy. Ooh. I think the people that we get from this NPC, or from this DLC, are more important than the people that we have on our journey. Like, I don't think Grieving Mother's story is gonna happen while we're out here. I'm gonna...
Our paths shall part.
Goodbye, Edelgard. Come along, my friend.
Too predictable.
You okay? What's your story, man?
Yes.
Well... It's cool you get all those new characters, though. Anyone who has a portrait is usually a character that you can bring along, so I'm curious about that woman in the...
Back to work, everyone. No time for dallying.
Oh, what's happening here? I really want to take this stuff. There's so much dialogue happening at
A
once.
fine thing you reached us when you did.
Including my
You would
own.
have burned the fishery next, mark my words.
He wraps your hand in a sturdy handshake.
And the last thing this lot needs is another excuse to knock off early.
He raises his voice as the last remark and glowers around the room. The other fisherfolk look studiously away and focus on mending nets, gutting fish, and sorting the day's catch. I can't imagine why there'd be any hurry. He looks as if he's trying not to breathe.
Anyway, excuse the mess. If there's something you need, the clerk can get you sorted.
He raises a graying eyebrow at a man storing various stocks and supplies near the back of the room.
Just watch your step if you've a mind to look around. The floors are slick and none too pleasant to fall on.
I have questions about the fishery.
Been running it 4 decades now. Reckon I can tell you what you want to know.
Seems like a big operation.
It may stink of fish guts, but there's no place more critical to Stalworth's survival.
He nods, a blush of pride rising above his beard.
Herds come and go, so there's seasons when our catch sustains the village.
He glances around the fishery, bustling with activity and warm with the heat of the cook fire.
But try telling these folk as much. We go home each day covered to the elbows in fish oil and entrails, reeking of our work.
His eyes soften with the gaze of a stern but loving father. Eleth forces a smile. Charming.
Stalworth's shrinking, but it would disappear if we lost the fishers. I drive him hard, but I can't afford to do otherwise.
What do you do here?
Just about everything. I track the day's catches and see that our nets and hooks are in working order.
He crosses his arms over his broad chest, throwing his shoulders back.
My family's been in charge of the fishery since the early days of Stalworth. I know the best spots to find frost diver and iron-toothed pike, and I make sure we don't overfish the speckleback.
That's all I wanted to know.
Need anything else?
Goodbye. I wasn't expecting anyone to come by the fishery for a while. Guess that's the proper way to go about it, really. Carry on like it's business as usual. Can I get you anything? Let me see what you have. Of course. Oh, it's a shop. Ooh. I will take that. And I will take those. The small, finely crafted figure of a worm was carved from bone. Though the shape of it is crude, it is covered with ornate details such as scales upon its head and black and sharp teeth within its maw. Oh. It's like something special for rests. You can summon worms! I have so much money. I just want it. I just want it real much. I bet I have a lot of oils. No. It's fine. No tree. Oh, get out of here. These roasting fish provide much of the pungent odor permeating the fishery. The dead eyes of a speckleback, iron-toothed pike, and frost diver fish gaze up at you. This tattered net appears to have been set aside for mending. Interesting. I thought there would be more to that place, but I definitely thought I got a quest. Okay, so we did that.
Huh, that's what I get for asking directions in the middle of nowhere.
Hello?
Say, I don't suppose you've seen any mysterious old buildings in the mountains lately, have you?
She's really pretty. The Amara wears an assortment of bangles, bands, cuffs, and chains as thick as armor. She watches you with a raised eyebrow and eyes gleaming with mirth. You mean Durgan's Battery?
No, but I've heard that name a lot around here. I'm looking for the Abbey of the Fallen Moon. It's an obscure temple dedicated to Andra.
Why are you looking for the Abbey?
I'm a gift bearer. My job is to gather tokens of things people want forgotten and surrender them to the Lady of Lament. Best place to do that is the Abbey of the Fallen Moon.
What kinds of tokens do you take?
Anything that represents a moment or a memory someone wishes to leave behind. Love notes, awkward family heirlooms, bad poetry, the kinds of things you want to forget.
I see.
I might be here a while. Half the villagers have never heard of the Abbey, and the ones that have, no one knows where it is. So I'm trying to think of this as an extended holiday in a remote mining village that smells like fish.
I've got business in the region. We could travel together.
You won't regret it. I've got a lovely singing voice. And the company's welcome.
She winks at Pelgina. Oh. Well, shit. What do you do? Barbarian. I was gonna send Pelgina back. But if these two are gonna be, you know, I would hate to break up the start of a relationship. Aleph, go away. You're really rude. I will miss your tentacles, though. I will miss them so much.
Oh?
I'll find it without your help. Not giving up, you hear me? Charlatans all. A dwarf paces with his head down and his arms crossed, only stopping to hurl glances at the building behind him. His face is smeared dark with grime, and soot falls from his beard as he mumbles to himself. Work my hands into bloody stumps in this place, and for what? He kicks a mound of dirty snow. Start with nothing, leave with less. He extends his arms out. Who are you yelling at? At idiots, that's who. And I'm as much to blame for believing them. The dwarf wrinkles his nose, nostrils flaring like a horse. Well, good riddance. Should have never settled here in the first place. Some things you mean to leave behind, come to find out you packed them anyway. But I'm not leaving until I recover what's mine. They can't deny me again. Not after this. Ocaran gestures to the burnt-out buildings. Those sweet-tongued priests took my heirlooms. Bury the memory of the past, they said. Now I don't even have that. What priests? Only ones here. They occupied the temple some time ago, picking at desperate folk like vultures. Those priests, Undra's dogs, said the goddess would forgive, that some things are best left to be forgotten. He nods towards the nearby temple. Their leader, Lafta, I believed her words. Another one of them, a gift-bearer, took my medallion. He closes his stocky hand into a fist. And now they won't tell me where it is. Your problem is that you give meaning to meaningless objects. Here, let me show you something. I need one of your rings. Okran draws back his hand, but Zura gives him a trustworthy nod. After a moment's hesitation, Okran relents, dropping a jeweled band into Zura's outstretched palm. Immediately, Zura flings it into the lake. See? You are no worse off. Okran's face, already splotched with pink from the cold, turns a deep shade of crimson, and his mouth puckers as though his head were set to implode. After a tense moment, his breathing slows and his fists unclench, his original look of pain frustration returning. That was so rude. Why won't they tell you? Because they think they know better, that's why. Said it was the only way I'd forget. What did you want to forget about your past? That was a different life, better days, until... Okran closes his eyes and shakes his head. Motes of soot fall from his hunched shoulders. It's my burden to bear, not yours. I thought to cast it away, but the memories I lost were all the wrong ones. What else did you give the priests? The dwarf casts a measuring look at you. He quickly turns his head away and nods. You'd understand its value. My armor, a finer than I'd ever seen, but worthless to an old dwarf. I'd have traded it for the medallion, but fool that I was, I gave them both. Maybe there's something I can do. Not the kind of talk that I've grown used to these last few years, I admit. The priests may pretend otherwise, but folks here tend to look only after themselves. I'd be surprised if they returned it willingly. They believe it's sacred duty to cast the offerings to the goddess in some place where they'll be forgotten. Better to find where they dropped them, I think. What's Lofta's role in all this? She leads the group of crows. They took over the temple as folks started to leave. Came to unburden those that forgot their misery here, they say. Tell me about this medallion you want to recover. It belonged to my sister. It was just a pretty trinket to her. To me, the dwarf casts his gaze down. She was the last of my family. At least it acted like family to me. I don't expect luck to grace me now, but if you find anything, I'll be here. Count on it. He gives you a vigorous nod. There is so many side quests here. Maybe it's just been a while since I've gathered up a lot of side quests, but it's just like bam, bam, bam. Also, here's 2 new characters. Bam, bam, bam. Oh, these are a bunch of motherfuckers I'm gonna have to kill, huh? Veins course under this woman's pale skin like icy fissures, yet, when she speaks, her voice flows warm and soothing. Odra welcomes you into her embrace. Her features soften into a look of practiced compassion. We're here to ease the pain of your past, ready to take your burdens. With a thin smile, she nods. No. If you let the goddess help with your hardships, of course. I want to ask you about Okran's heirloom. The dwarf already asked. We gave him counsel he needed. Slight irritation sharpens her tone. She seems to catch herself, modulating her voice back to a pleasant timbre. And naturally, we'll do what we can for you, too. Ask what you will. Okran wants his medallion back. She brings her hands together and nods. Ah, Okran, how often we let the shadow of the past become a burden even to others. That medallion, it weighs on Okran's mind. You are kind to help, but what he really needs to do is cast away those memories. Isn't that for him to decide? He did. He understood the solace that the goddess can give to those like him. It was explained to him that many have second thoughts, But one does not withdraw something offered to a goddess. In time, the memories fade, and they come to see the wisdom of their original pledge. His belongings, his past, now rest in Oda's realm, to be forgotten so that the wounds of the soul may heal. This is the will of the goddess. Let's suppose Oberon has moved on. Tell me where his heirloom is. He hasn't, and that's the point. Lafta crosses her arms. Besides, you have no authority here. I wonder what the village leader would have to say about that. You think we do not act in accordance with local customs? The village knows we're here to help the unfortunate, like Oaken. They trust us. I see there's no changing your mind. No, there isn't, and I hope you realize that it's best to let things be as they are. A young man dressed in sturdy leathers glares at you. The creases in his face tan despite the scarce sunlight of the region. Suffer a slight twitch as you approach him. I've got nothing for you. Speak with Lofta if you must. He turns away, his nose wrinkled. Wow. Tell me about Ondra. Ondra's the goddess of redemption, deep like an ocean and gentle as a mother. She's here to relieve her children of the darkest burdens. We came here to aid the villagers, to heal the wounds of the past that fester in their souls. I would say whatever temple we're looking for that other woman is probably where that stuff is. I don't want to just start killing. Not without reason. Oh boy. As you step outside, the heavy wooden door of the temple slams shut behind you. You hear someone barring it from the other side. It sounds like the priests have engaged in an agitated conversation. You get the sense that they are discussing you, but you're also certain the door is too thick to eavesdrop. Although there may be other places nearby where you could stand a better chance. Damn, you're right. The wooden shutters of the temple's windows close tight, muffle a set of voices coming from within the building. You can't quite make the sense of murmur, but cracking the shutter open would likely help. A rusty iron latch holds the window shutters closed. With care, you should be able to unfasten it without being noticed. Yes, indeed. You carefully begin to lift the hatch from its metal hook. Halfway there, the rusted iron resists with a screech. You freeze, listening to the voices in hopes the priest didn't hear. The conversation continues uninterrupted. I got oil? Pour some oil on that latch. You grab the latch and apply just the right amount of oil, nudging the metal until its rust gives away without a sound. Carefully, you pull the window shutters open enough to let the voices flow through. You hear a man speaking, his tone agitated. Too dangerous! Who else will... His sentence cuts as if the man were speaking to all sides of the rooms. About what we do here. What then? You recognize Lofta's voice responding. Why would she? And with all those dangers near the battery, our gift bearer won't delay. I expect the man interrupts her. You always expect. Look where that's taken us. A dying village. Ogres of the walls. Ictali's not back yet. And now I have to do this. His voice drops and seethes, muffling what he has to say. After a moment, Lofta replies, Do you think I wanted this? That I could have known in advance? A pause ensues, its tension growing until the priest's voice cuts it in half. We can't wait for him. We must fish out the last batch quickly. After that, we'll decide. The man responds in a broken voice, barely audible. You only distinguish the last words. I'll go. Their exchange seems to end. Cautiously, you step away from the window in Audra's temple. Well, that's the man I'm about to kill. Got 3 more places to go, and then... Sure, the hotspots. There's so much to do. I probably actually won't accomplish anything outside of this village today. These smelters haven't seen use in a long time. Nope, nothing here. The Orlan bows to you. Ah, the adventurer who saved the village. So good of you to visit my humble wagon. I am Hierdurin. How's business? He gestures at the village around him. Poor, like this place, not much coin to be made in trading in furs and fish. I came to the White Marsh because I assumed there would be no competition, and I have done, because there's nothing to compete over out here. Would you like to trade? If you're not making money out here, why do you stay? His eyes lowers. I was rather vocal about my inevitable success with my friends and family. If I gave up in return with a little more than what I'd left with, then... His hands ball into fists. No, it won't be like that. I'm not giving up yet. Okay, dokie. Wait, hold on. What do you have for sale? I'll buy some of this. Thank you, sir. And there's one house over here.
It must be soon.
Oh boy.
2 days, no more.
Is that blood on the floor? Oh no, it's just herbs hanging. This dwarf is busy staring into the fire, slowly puffing away on his pipe. As you greet him, he's visibly startled and his pipe clatters to the floor.
Sorry. Didn't hear you come in. My ears aren't what they used to be.
He stoops, wincing, to retrieve his pipe. When he raises again, he has a hand against his side. Who are you?
I'm Thiersch. I've lived here long enough that Kith have started calling me the Old Hunter. And that's about all I can say for myself.
I have some questions.
Coming to your elders for advice, is it? What can I do for you?
Teledor said I should talk to you before I head to Longwatch Falls. And good thing you did. Hot springs north of the road are crawling with Lagwath. I'm surprised Teller found himself out there. The thing to know about Lagwath is that they're fast, tolerant to cold, so try another angle of attack. Something seems to occur to him, and he pats his pockets, clenching his pipe between his teeth. These'll come in handy. Use them if you get into trouble. He hands you a few scaled bottles. The old hunter looks you up and down, puffing on his pipe. If I'm being honest, though, I'd say those beasts are still going to be a challenge for you. I know you've held against your own against the ogres, but it might be wise to wait a spell before taking on these Lagwath. He taps his pipe ash into the fire pit. What can you tell me about Stalwart?
Well, I can tell you it won't be here much longer if things go on as they are. With the mines closed, we've lost what put us on the map in the first place. We're losing people every month. Too many mouths to feed and not enough to support them. Even the game's dwindling. I've been lucky. I've hides and horns enough to keep the traders happy, but now the ogres are picking the rest of us off.
What can you tell me about the ogres? Only that they're coming down in force, again and again, trying to drive us out or kill us outright.
The moment we started looking into Durgan's battery, it was like we'd kicked a hornet's nest. You made a good showing against that last group. Didn't expect you'd be one of the godlike. Then, if anyone was gonna turn up here at the ass end of nowhere to save our hides...
Everyone thinks what we do must be the will of the gods. What nonsense. Why is hunting so poor?
It's been a colder season than usual, and the elk herds aren't faring well. We're stuck fighting with the ogre clans and the wolves over what's left. Not to mention the occasional beast. We've lost a lot of young hunters.
Has the legacy struck Stalwart as well?
It has.
Oh.
We had some hope in the early days that we'd be spared, isolated as we are. That hope died in a hurry. Not everyone's been so unlucky, of course. You'll see a few pampered sprats around.
Treating them like precious stones won't see them grow up any faster, if at all. The sudden sorrow on his features bellies his soft laughter. You must have some interesting hunting stories.
Long hours checking snares and waiting out elk, mostly. Used to hunt some of the big ones. Bear, stelgare. But up here, it comes down to necessity. Which means keeping Stalwart fed, or else keeping it safe. Thing is, the last hunt didn't go so well, as you can see.
How did you get injured?
Wasn't the ogres, I can tell you that. Put a few arrows in one of those and they generally have the good sense to back off. But I've been hunting this wolf for near a year now. A man-eater. Cunning, nasty thing. Every time I get close, it just slips away. The beast has already claimed many lives. The first victim was my son, Saldrin.
No. Thursik looks down at his pipe for a moment, features hardening. Zura leans in eagerly. Go on. Thursik fowers his bow for a moment, but continues anyway.
Got the better of me this last time. Distracted me long enough for one of its kin to turn up. Nearly bit me clean in half.
He winces.
I'm a few weeks out from trying again.
You said this thing is a wolf?
No ordinary wolf. A monster. This creature is big. And I see the signs it leaves behind. The mess it made to the last couple of hunters and the elk. Doesn't always finish its meals. Damn thing might be sick. Might have a bullet in its jaw. Something. In any case, it needs to be put down.
Where is the beast?
It roams the russet wood out to the west. Seems to have decided the lake is a good place to find prey. Yeah. It's picked off some scattered ogres from time to time. But mostly it's been going after hunters. Travelers.
Can you tell me about your previous encounters?
Nothing to tell. Near misses, all of them. One time he clambered right up the cliffs to avoid my snares. Another time, he chased a bear into my camp. I nearly had him once. I could hear him below, eating, and I had the gun aimed right for him. Until the wind changed. He charged headlong into the tree to get at me. Nearly knocked me off my perch. And when I righted myself, he was gone.
I'll keep an eye out for it.
It needs doing. But I warn you, this beast is not to be trifled with. It must make its lair somewhere to the west. If you mean to go there, keep your wits about you. Watch yourself on the mountain. In these lean times, everything looks like prey to something.
This conversation just reminded me, I don't know if anyone's seen Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch was about so much, but it was about these girls that were institutionalized, and the one girl, Baby Doll, was having like these sort of dream-like encounters on how to deal with sort of the trauma that she was going through. Anyway, there was constantly an old man that was like their teacher or boss or coach or like, and he was always giving her advice, and he's like, always before you left, they left on to do like this thing. He always had some words of wisdom, and he talked really slow and like gravelly like that. It just reminded me what everything about that conversation was like. Sucker Punch is a wild movie. It's really good, but it's only really super good if you watch the director's cut version, because they cut out what I would consider one of the most important scenes that sort of like ties the whole movie together. So without it, it kind of looks, it like doesn't really feel like it makes a lot of sense. But if you watch like the one big scene that they cut out, it's like, oh, I get it. Does take out the lack of interpretation, I guess, which is probably why they cut it. I don't know. Yeah, they cut the most important scene, which explains basically what's happening. And I think it was really unfortunate. They cut out the scene where Baby Doll actually talks and meets the High Roller that she's trying to run away from. And he's sort of like he just like sort of explains it all, and it's like really good, and it's a really good scene anyway. And they cut it. It's like, well, sure done did it. The simple shrine is covered in a thick layer of snow, fallen leaves and feathers. A pair of curving bones flanks the altar. Examine the shrine more closely. The shrine does not appear to be frequented very often, though traces of old candle wax line the edges of stone. Under a dusting of frost, you note a rectangular section of the altar surface seems to be cleaner than the rest, as if something once rested there. You feel a tingle run up your arm as you set your fingers to an altar. In the instant after, the wind seems to die down, the sounds of wilderness growing muted into your hearing. Then you hear a sudden low growl, quickly joined by more. A vision strikes you like a sudden memory, though it is unbound by time or place. Within a sea of darkness, you see a great beast, formless save for its gleaming fangs. It growls and snaps with increasing desperation and savagery, and for a moment you feel its rage as your own, a possessive fury that tears at you. Something has been taken, your territory threatened, and the price for it will be blood. The vision fades just as swiftly as it came. The altar stands silent and still, and the air fills again with the occasional thrill of a birdsong. Wait. Hold on, I want to read that again really quickly. Okay. Oh boy.
We don't have much ice on the south coast. Maybe you should go first.
As you walk towards the frozen pond, a figure appears through the mist, kneeling down into a hole on the ice. The figure picks up a large chest and throws it into the water without hesitation. The figure looks around. You glimpse a face you've seen before. Kextil, one of Lofta's acolytes, pulls a hood over his head and throws a leather bag over his shoulder. Without looking back, he walks away in the direction of Stalwart Village. Cloudy water is visible through a large hole cut through thick ice. It is larger than a fishing hole and wider than the broadest on Mara. Stir the surface of the water laps against the layered ice. You reach out to test the water. It nips at your fingers with every ripple, quickly numbing your hand after a few seconds. You carefully inspect your surroundings. Animal tracks are plentiful, but what appear to be footprints of kith are also present near the hole. Looking closer into the hole, you notice a jagged ring of frost adhering to its walls. It has been rebroken, perhaps more than once. The water swirls, salty and nearly opaque, forcing you to catch glimpses of the bottom, but gradually making shapes out of the blur. You're convinced that several items lie at the bottom. Ugh. Dive in and search the bottom of the pond. Who will dive in? Wait, hold on.
Tell me.
It's gonna be someone with high constitution, right? 15, 17, 13, 15, 16. High constitution and athletics, I would imagine. 16. He's not a bad choice, though. Constitution is a common over health stamina, although it is not used much in interactions, is sometimes checked to withstand pain or physically endure a taxing ordeal. In combat, it affects minimal. Yeah, he would be the best person to go. Continue. Who should go? Considering how to best deal with the situation, you take a step back and look at the whole. Oh, okay. Zula dives into the water and disappears into a turbulent darkness. The cold steals all warmth, and every movement is a struggle. Yet, graced with exceptional resilience and endurance, Zora manages to swim with ease to the bottom of the pond. Constitution 16. Woo! Directly below the hole at the bottom, Zora's hands find heavy objects made of wood and metal. There are chests, small but heavy, and Zora starts to bring them up to the surface one by one, struggling to carry their weight through the water. After a heroic effort, Zora comes out of the frozen pond. You let a few minutes pass to recover from your ordeal, and then you're ready to inspect your findings. The chests are marked with symbols of Undra. You grab one of them and pry its lid open and reveal its contents. Inside, all you see are rocks. You shake the surprise off your garb, and another chest. The same results greet you after opening it. More rocks, and nothing of value. Something is surely amiss. As proof of your findings, you take one of the empty chests with you.
Oh?
Damn, good job, man.
Certainly.
Uh-oh. Greyjaw. A bear. Oh, my party's actually not in super good shape.
Hey.
You would tank too. Okay. We'll go punching. I've got a lot of melees now.
Don't even slowing up.
Can you imagine if Durance was still a melee?
Had to try.
Oh?
I'm so sad we had to kill this bear.
Some rest would renew our souls.
Yeah, we will do that.
All right then.
Oh, excellent. I need to. There's an extra camping thing right here, so there's like no better time than right this moment to do a resty. That bear was so large. You waken and hear someone stirring, growling. Look over, you see Mana twitching and muttering in her sleep. You can't make out what she's saying, but from her bared teeth and sheen of sweat on her brow, she seems like she's having a very bad dream. Wake up, Mania. She bolts upright, roaring and reaching for her weapon. Just calm down, you're safe.
What? Oh.
Her gaze darts around but slowly focuses on you. She grimaces and looks away, wiping her face.
Oh, sorry. I must have been dreaming.
She lies back down and turns away from you. You can't help but notice how carefully she's avoiding your gaze. About what?
No, it's nothing. Sorry, I shouldn't have bothered you.
She pulls her blanket up over her shoulder. You aren't bothering me, but something's clearly bothering you. I'd like to help. She's quiet for a long time. It seems like she's already gone back to sleep, but then she sighs.
You told me about your awakening.
Adir stirs. Mena waits silently until Adir rolls over and resumes deep, steady breaths.
I guess I've had a similar problem. There's something I remember from a former life. Happened hundreds of years ago, but I remember it like it was yesterday.
How did you remember it?
Happened while I was fighting in Old Valia 20 years ago. My unit was camped out in the palace we'd just taken. The others were roasting the last of the Marchesos pigs in the feast hall. So, I went to the wine cellars to fetch a few bottles.
She works her fingers into a knot.
I don't know how long she'd been hiding there, but there was this old woman. Must have been one of the servants.
Her fingers curl into fists.
She had this wild look in her eyes. I approached her and tried to tell her not to be afraid, that she was safe.
Mina holds out her hands, reliving the memory.
She screamed and grabbed my arm.
She closes her eyes.
It felt like someone had hit me in the back of my head. I blacked out for a few minutes, and when I came to, she was gone.
Go on.
I took a few bottles up with me, feasted with the rest of the troops. But when I went to bunk, I had a dream.
She shivers.
Only it was more vivid than any dream I've ever had. I tasted the sweat on my lips, felt the jungle air on my skin, heard the cries.
She stops and swallows, shaking her head. This dream, was it a memory?
Like when you hear a song you know you've heard before. Anyway, I laid off the drink for several days, but I kept having the dream. After a few weeks, I thought a change of scenery might do me good. Since then, I've been a pirate in the Deadfire, a pilgrim in the White that Wends, an adventurer in the Living Lands, and a gift bearer in Ashamadal.
I have not been saying that word right. She gives you a rueful smile. That's why you're really going to the Abbey of the Fallen Moon, to forget it. She nods.
There's a pool there, the Salt Well. It's where gift bearers leave the heaviest burdens.
She pauses.
It's said that a person can enter it and leave their own memories behind.
There's a distant, hungry look in her eyes. And you would leave this haunting memory in the Salt Well?
That's the plan.
What if you lose more than you intend?
At this point, I'd gladly give up all my memories if that's what it takes for peace in this life and the next.
I wanted to ask you about something. Tell me, how did you end up in Stalwart? The other gift bearers told me Stalwart was close to the Abbey, so they suggested I ask for directions in town. You mean the other gift bearers don't know where the Abbey is? Like I said, it's one of Andra's most ancient temples, and her followers aren't really known for their record-keeping. You're not exactly dressed for the weather. Well, Jimotali's... that's still not right. Flat as a platter, so when the gift bearers told me Stalwart was way up the mountains, I thought they were exaggerating. She shrugs. Anyway, I hate packing. I see. Tell me why you really became a gift bearer. I heard about the order from some missionaries while I was in the Living Lands. I'd heard Andra's doctrine before, but the way they talked about the peace of forgetting, washing away the old with the tide. It sounded good. And gift bearers' work. Taking to the road, helping people lose their own burdens, that sounded good too. Kept hoping I'd find a way for me to lose my burden along the way. Tell me about yourself. Where to begin? I spent almost 10 years as a mercenary in Old Valleja. Plenty of work there. She tilts her head up and starts counting items off of her fingers. After that, I fought with the pirates in the Dreadfire, or for them, depending on who was paying. Did a short stint in the White that Wends, then roamed the Living Lands, and finally joined the gift bearers in Motali. And here I am, she grins. Actually, I was asking about where you came from before your adventures. Not much to tell. She waves a hand and looks away quickly. Grew up in Rotani, left when I was still pretty young, and haven't been back since. Why not? Oh, you know. Spent almost 20 years there. Change of scenery is good, right? She gives you a breezy smile, but it looks forced. I see. It's better to look forward than back. That's what I always say. Why so much travel? I could ask you the same. Guess staying in one place never much suited me. And you gave up soldiering, piracy, and adventuring to join Ordra's gift bearers? Yeah, it's very good. She laughs. Still plenty of adventure, just different circumstances. I have questions about some of the lands you visited. I'm always up for war stories. What was Old Valia like? Grand. A skirmish every day, and a feast in another. Kamate or Morosos keep every night. They were good, carefree days. What about the Dreadfire Archipelago? Dangerous. You got pirates and sea monsters, and don't even get me started on the merchants. I had a good run there, but I got tired of trying to keep track of who had a knife pointed at my back. What were your experiences in the White that Wends? Short. That place is too cold for anything but leaving. I'm curious about the Living Lands. She laughs. Most folks are. Even after 10 years there, it feels like I just saw the edges of the place. You can start the day in a desert and find yourself in the middle of a jungle by nightfall. Everything there is just a little wilder. Goes for the folk as well as the creatures. Part of me misses it still, but you wake up every day knowing it might be your last. I stayed lucky longer than anyone who has the right to expect. That's all I wanted to know. Something else on your mind? That's all for now.
Yes.
Okay, most excellent. Let's go over here. Lots of flowers, which I do not mind. There's gonna be a cave over here. I can feel it in my bones. Ooh. Perhaps not. Ooh, more campfire.
Spot on.
You're not.
Yeah.
Loot? Uh-oh.
Finish the. Yes.
Well, I wasn't technically wrong. Flames that whisper caverns. Shit. I can't remember the names of the good ogres. But I know that the, or not the good ogres, but the ogres I could talk to. I know the something about wolves is the bad one, so hopefully I'm not killing ogres of the people I could befriend, or allegedly befriend.
The ogre that decorated this cave would be much in demand among the Takan. The skullwork is very pleasing.
The petrified skull is cold and hard as stone. Wax tears dribble down the eye sockets.
And the fire shows me something new.
And the fire shows me something new.
Spot on.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if these are good or bad ogres.
Hey.
Oh, maybe my journal will tell me. Find Matron Banger is somewhere in the Ice Crown, surrounded by her clan, Renegold. Wants me to kill Banger and her followers. Banger is also believed to have previous expedition goods in the Aldrich advised against fighting, but I believe I may be able to talk to her to avoid further trouble. I think I'm killing people that I could make peace with. Okay, well, I have to go through here. There is no changing that. Then I'll come back.
Step lightly.
Keeping an eye out.
Well, that's no good.
Hey. Hey, you're not getting...
Sid.
I can do that. That's settled.
Well, as this was considered stealing, I've got a bad feeling.
A simple test. That's settled.
Cannonball-shaped dent in front of the shield.
The artist.
The inside of this minecart is caked with blackened grease. It smells of burnt fat.
Yes.
Yep. A wide shaft snakes deep underground. The lips is surrounded by scattered refuse and half-gnawed carcasses, but wisps of light wing along the walls below. Yet the chute disappears into darkness. Peering into the depths, all you can see are shattered bones and streaks of frozen sludge stuck in the ice. A rancid odor of rotten meat wafts from the chute. The ice varnishes the chute feels slick and smooth. It won't offer any traction. The faint echoes from the depths suggest that it's a long way down. However, you notice a thick stalagmite nearby. It looks sturdy enough to hold a rope and a grappling hook. You secure your hook to a thick, solid-looking stalagmite, giving the rope a good tug for good measure. It holds, and you cast a free hand into the darkness of the chute. You grab the rope and plant your feet as best you can against the slippery ice. You lower yourself slowly, seeking out rough patches and ribs in the marbled and filth-streaked ice. After several minutes, the mouth of the chute disappears above you. The climb tests your patience and more than your strength, forcing you to choose your footholds carefully until the chute opens into a wide cavern around you. You lower yourself hand over hand, keeping your half-numbed fingers wrapped around the rope. You still can't see the bottom, but as you look around, a glint of light catches your eye. Yes, please, just offer me a joke. You see a small outcropping clinging to the wall nearby. Skeletal remains cluster on the ledge, and between the bones you detect a glimmer. The edge of the outcropping is just close enough that it might be able to swing towards it. Swing on the rope and make a grab for the ledge. You heave your weight from side to side. You're building momentum. The rope creaks under the increasing stress, but the ledge is almost within reach. You swing once, and as your fingers brush the outcropping, a loud crack resonates down the chute, and the rope gives beneath your weight. You experience panic for a moment of free fall before the rope snags again. While you can't see all the way up to the mouth of the chute, you guess your grappling hook dug its claws into the ridge of the ice just in time. It's holding, for now. You tighten your grip on the rope and consider your options as the rope creeps softly overhead. Maybe I should climb up the rope to secure it once more. You decide to anchor the hook to a new support. From here, you can't tell how secure the rope is, but you suspect that any sudden weight change or fumbling about could dislodge the rope and send you crashing down. Who will you send to climb the rope to secure the hook? A deer. You watch a deer climb up the rope. It creaks and moans at every pull. A deer tries to keep the rope steady, but it swings wildly. Suddenly the rope slips, and you hear a deer curse. Uh-oh. A woman... Okay, let me read your joke before we all die. A woman gets stung on a golf course and to complain to the manager. Where did you get stung? Asked the manager. Somewhere between the first and second holes, she said. Oh no! That's dirty. Brace for impact. The hook tumbles from its anchor above you. You pick up speed. Wind whistling past your ears and scream tearing from your throat, you slam against the jagged rocks and hard ice, tumbling down the narrow tunnel as the world spins around you. With a final crash, the chute spits you out into the open cavern. Are we dead? I can't wait to see how my health looks. Oh, we're not in that bad. These guys are pretty, though. Everybody's got bruised ribs. Except me. Oh, a deer has so many problems. A deer's got a concussion, a twisted ankle, and bruised ribs. Oh man, I thought that would be way worse. We all took a little bit of health too, but we did fall down a pit, so.
Hey.
Alright, you guys. Deal with this thing. Oh, I see. I see. Ooh, I see. Yeah, they're really neat. We actually did a really good job considering everything that just happened. All these melees aren't too bad. Oh, I can climb up the wall, I guess. Hmm.
Of course.
Yeah, I saw that coming. I realized it too late, though. It just looked like such an obvious trap.
You're not getting through me.
You two.
Yes.
Join the rest of the party.
Hey.
Oh?
Oh, indeed.
Spot on.
Yeah, everyone. It's a beefy game. Like, people aren't in super great health either, so like, I'm seriously impressed. I think my other teams had a lot of squishies. So. But everyone sort of shares the aggro table a little bit, so like everyone gets a little bit of damage, and it's not as bad. Yeah. I wanted to finish the cave, but the cave turned out much longer than I anticipated.
I can do that. That's settled.
Oh no, my bear. Bear? Come on.
Oh.
Yeah, everyone who had spells. It was a lot. Some of these people have a lot of stuff going on
Zawa
too.
is ready.
But it's not so bad. It's easier to keep managed.
Tell me.
My bear is super chunky. He's a strong little lad.
Certainly.
So lead me back up? Question mark? I killed so many ogres that I think I'm trying to make my friends, and I think it's gonna go really badly. I don't think they're gonna be cool at the end of this. Alright, back down we go. Yeah, I had a bad feeling when everything I take from this place is considered stealing. Ugh. I know, but I don't actually think I'm supposed to be killing all these ogres. We'll see, though. We'll see what happens if I find this matron. There was very clear voices in my ear just now, and it actually startled me.
You're not getting through me.
Like, they were echoey, and I got spooked.
Just flesh and blood beneath all that steel and feathers.
Oh, she died. Nani? Oh no, you'll die if you get hurt. No, 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 don't hit her! Oh, my bear!
What?
Okay. My bear! No, okay, awesome. Let's take a camp before she dies. God, that was so frightening. Yeah, I don't have raid today. It got canceled again. So, I'm going a little over, especially because I didn't stream earlier today.
That's settled.
My apologies. I was not very well this morning. Oh. Gemstones glitter between the veins of iron ore. They are deeply embedded within the cave wall, and extracting them all intact would require a hammer and chisel as well as deft touch. Good thing I've got that. The chisel keeps slipping from your grip, and your careless hammer blows destroy some of the more valuable gems. Fortunately, you were able to retrieve the rest without any trouble. Most excellent. Uh-oh. The world around you blurs and fades to black. When your vision returns, you find yourself in a small wooden hut, its interior dimly lit by embers in a nearby fire pit. You're wearing mail armor several sizes too large for you, and clutched in your hands is the ivory horn of some sea creature, one end sharpened to a point. What are we going to do, Kradoth? Your sister Kathia huddles near you, her wide eyes fixed on the hut's door, which has been barred shut. The door shudders and splinters beneath heavy blows coming from the other side. Enraged growling can be heard just beyond the door. All at once the world halts around you. The pounding stops. Wooden splinters from the door hang suspended in the air. Kathia no longer trembles, no longer breathes, her eyes fixed in place like a doll's. The wisp of essence you had followed to this point in the memory has dwindled to little more than a faint trail. However, you find yourself concentrating on what might have happened next. You are able to sense whether it truly did. Take cover beside the door. No sooner does your mind touch on the possibility than the world lurches back into motion, and a thunderous impact strikes the door. The door crashes inward and a young girl screams. A large creature resembling a bear and taller than any man in your tribe steps into the hut with a triumphant roar. It doesn't notice you crouch beside the door. Dodge past the creature and escape? You dash past the creature before it can react and sprint away from the hut. The creature doesn't pursue and turns its attention to Kathia! Your sister's cries of agony and the creature's growls fade. Is that how it happened? It's been so long. It's hard to remember. I had the vision when I picked up the horn. Part of a helm, apparently. A helm, yes, my helm, I remember it. But who was I? Why haven't I returned to the wheel? Maybe if you knew who you were, you would know whether it is time to move on. That helm is all that remains of my old life. If you have found some of me within one piece, perhaps my memories are scattered within the rest of it. Perhaps there is a piece to be found in its reassembly. I'll track down the other parts of your helm. Thank you, my friend. He must have escaped if he's here.
Yes.
That is the conclusion I draw. Okay. This is all that's left, this path right here. Most excellent, everyone. Now let's just keep going, it's fine. Anyway, Durance.
I'll kick. Finish them.
I definitely made a bad choice. Can't deny that. Ooh, everyone's attacks are very immune. There we go. Whew. That was spicy because I made an incredibly bad choice.
I'm ready.
I woke up with a crazy migraine, and I could not do anything but lay in bed, so I could not stream. It's true. I guess you weren't around during some of my early Warcraft streams, but I got hit with a migraine mid-stream once, and my migraines do this thing with my vision, and I couldn't read the text, and it was like the beginning of all the letters were gone, and I was just like, I had to cut it short because I couldn't see all my buttons and I couldn't read the dialogue. It was crazy hard. It was just so bad. Yeah, it just happened like middle of the stream. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Hey, I hope you don't mind that I killed everybody.
Fish, sweat, sulfur.
The ogre matron sniffs in the air. Her nostrils are as wide and dark as two pistol barrels. Ah, her nose smells like my eyes see. I think I got the better deal in life. It's all good.
That whisper clan with the stink of stalwart heavy upon you. You fill our halls with dreams of battle and bloodshed.
A feral grimace parts the matron's teeth. Yet even while her fingers clamp in a fist, she watches you carefully. Thank you. Why would I attack you? It was the wolf with many mouths that attacked Stalwart.
Matron Forgash's clan. But it's rare that you thin-skinned folk know the difference. and stalwart.
Her teeth lock back into a snarl.
The villagers spy on our camps and spoil our hunts. They pick us off only to retreat behind their walls.
Cold fury rumbles in her voice.
Like a crack in the ice, they spread deeper into our lands with each waning moon. But we'll answer them blow for blow.
She punctuates her words by ramming one meaty fist into the other. The villagers seek the White Forge. They're not after you.
Yet they come with weapons in hand, and mark their passage with the blood of my kind.
Wiry black hairs bristle along her arms and neck.
And their strength fails, so they send you to carve a path through the fallen keep.
A shiver runs through her thick flesh. Oh man, I need to answer carefully. That's not true.
Not yet. But that place works Kith into a fever. You gather to it and hurl your brittle strength against its walls. But for smugglers and slavers, Kith rarely visit these lands for any other purpose.
Dargan's battery unsettles you.
Of course it does!
Her hot breath hisses between barred teeth. The other ogres growl and glare at you. It seems the matrons being less aggressive than the males is only a relative comparison.
It's the diseased carcass of a ruined civilization. It festers with restless spirits and rotten magics. I see.
She roars and she roars and clutches her head with wide, long-fingered hands.
Dreams. Hailstones falling like cannonballs from the ramparts. A frozen gale screeching through the tower door.
Her nails plow trenches through her ropey hair and raise a spot of crimson from her scalp. Finally, her growls subside and her breathing slows. She looks back at you with bloodshot eyes. Most dreams are fears given a face, but that does not mean those fears are unfounded.
My dreams drove me to found this clan. Now my dreams tell me that Stalwart's ambition will destroy us.
This isn't about you. Stalwart wants Durgan Battery for trade.
Dreams cannot lie. And now you'll tell me why you're here.
Her voice is calm, but dangerously low. I heard another adventuring company, members of the Laden Key, crossed your path. I'm looking for anything they might have found.
The Night Winds whispered this name to me. They found us clubs and cannons ready. As for what we found on them...
She sighs. Heavy fumes gust from her nostrils.
I've more trust in you than those villagers. Or the next pack of fools they call here.
She scratches her head, and the rough sound is like the scraping of an iron file.
I'll give you my blessing. And the remains of the last clods that passed through. Perhaps they found something of value to you. But you must keep Stalwart from harassing us further.
She raises one thick brow to regard you. Agreed.
Then take the bounty of your foolish predecessors. May it serve you better.
Her lip twitches. One of the ogres standing near Bragan mutters something in her ear. Ooh, I gained the Laden Key Expedition Journal, which we will read in a second. Laden Key robes. Nice.
Under the circumstances,
Nope.
I'll overlook your slaughter of my clan.
Oh,
You shall have the peace of flames that whisper. For now.
I'm glad.
I hope your skills are as fine as your words. It is rare that a matron betrays her dreams.
Most excellent. Let's read that journal thing. Oh, I'm gonna, alright, we'll read this really quickly. A secret society of animancers has been traveling around the Eastern Reach, promising to restore life to lost loved ones. They perform their rituals to clandestine meetings in various cities, never staying in one place for more than a few days. Though some spark of life appears to be restored to the bodies they revive. Authorities suspect the group is behind abductions, murders, eviscerations, and other ghastly practices that appear to be required by their methods. To make matters worse, those restored to life rapidly decompose or grow mad within days of their resurrection. Concerned animancers and various civic authorities are seeking help in tracking down those responsible. The secret society known as the Morning Circle repeatedly eluded Herafius' pursuit. As soon as Herafius discovered their latest location, they would begin the process of moving to a new town. It turned out that the Morning Circle had an extensive spy network at their disposal. Eventually, Heravis managed to capture a senior member of the group who was more than willing to give up information on her brothers and sisters. In a Rhodes End charnel house, Heravis and trusted soldiers of the Mayhem family confronted and killed most of the cult's leaders. Though some members of the group escaped, the Erla of Hellsgate, Freya Mayhem, was confident that the power in Darewood was broken. Alright. He did it. And the journal. Oh, it's not going to be a key item. Creature's hide. Unless it is a key item. It's not. Mm-mm. Oh no. It's not here, it seems like. Maybe it's something special that I can't actually read. Oh no, or it could be right here in my inventory. The Layden's Key Expedition Journal. The leather-bound journal is embossed with the image of a key. Most of these pages are filled with rust-bound stains or writing too small to read, but you're able to decipher a passage near the end of the journal. Couldn't detect how the front door opens. Even after she pried the iron tile from the relief, the more I consider it, the surer I am that the old Valyrian was right. We'll have to dispose of him, but we can't afford to act until we've destroyed the White Forge. Even his meager knowledge was a revelation to us. And if he's right, we've got to hope that the cantic he speaks of was written down somewhere. We've decided to strike camp and search the area for books, records, something. Anything's better than stirring in the middle of the blizzard. Alright. So now we have a plan. And that, I went a little over, but that's okay, because we missed yesterday, or this morning. That's going to be it for me. Thank you so very, very much for being here, and I am again sorry about earlier today. I will be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. EST with Darkest Dungeon, and I will be back with more of this game at 6 p.m. EST. Thank you so very, very much for watching. If you're looking for more of what I do, you can find those in the About page. You can find the Discord to my whole situation here. You can find my YouTube where all the previous videos are. And you can find me on Twitter where I update my schedule and sometimes give updates if I'm not streaming. I did not do that today because I could not get out of bed to get on Twitter. But thank you so very, very much. I would not be here without any of you. Take care and have a lovely, lovely evening. And goodbye.